CJ?
I'm gonna push record just now.
Okay.
Welcome to Clifton Joseph Podcast. Raptors wrap up with Jude Kelly and Michael Solomon. Gentlemen, this is an emergency edition of the wrap up. So much has happened in the wake of the killing of Jacob Blake in Kenosha, Wisconsin. We had the Raptors and first reports I can remember, the Raptors and the Celtics were talking about not playing their game the Thursday, and Milwaukee jumped on board and pulled the trigger Wednesday night, which set off a firecracker. The NBA canceled the games, so the games are supposed to be coming back this Sunday. Then the WNBA jumped into the thing. The baseballers jumped into the thing. Naomi Osaka pulled out of her tennis game, and they had all kind of big level meetings between the players, the board of governors, and the Players Association and the owners and shit. What do y'all make of what's going on?
Want to start, Michael?
Hey, what's going on? It's about time. It's time that players stand up. But the great thing about what's going on now is that they're getting results. You know, get a meeting with the governor and things of that nature. You know.
Yeah, I think Clifton, that it's awesome news. The NBA is not going to be able to solve all the problems of the world, like Doc Rivers said, but it's a start. And they have a plan, and they have looks like a strategy, but they're going to try to engage people to vote, register them to vote, and get some of these wealthy owners of these NBA clubs to open up their arenas to make them super voting centers, which will thwart any Republican activities to suppress the vote nationwide. So it's been great. I'm real happy about this development.
Well, Jude, you're referring to the joint statement by the NBA and the NBA Players Association. If I may read it, yeah. It's not as long. We had a candid, impassioned, and productive conversation yesterday between NBA players, coaches, and team governors regarding next steps to further our collective efforts and actions in support of social justice and racial equality. Among others, the attendees included player and team representatives of all 13 teams in Orlando. All parties agreed to resume NBA playoff games on Saturday, August 29th, with the understanding that the league, together with the players, will work to enact the following commitments. The NBA and its players have agreed to immediately establish a social justice coalition with representatives from players, coaches, and governors that will be focused on a broad range of issues, including increasing access to voting, promoting civil engagement, and advocating for meaningful police and criminal justice reform. In every city where the league franchise owns and controls the arena property, team governors will continue to work with local election officials to convert the facility into a voting location for the 220 general election. If a deadline had passed, team governors will work with local election officials to find another election-related facility. The league will work with the players and our network partners to create advertising spots in NBA playoff games dedicated to promoting greater civic engagement in national local elections and raising awareness. These commitments follow months of close collaboration around designing a safe and healthy environment to restart the NBA season, providing a platform to promote social justice, as well as creating an NBA foundation focused on economic empowerment in the Black community. We look forward to the resumption of the playoffs and continuing to work together in Orlando and in all NBA team markets to push for meaningful and sustainable change.
Yeah, you know what?
I've seen any sports people get out of any kind of league.
That's awesome. I mean, I think it would have been a missed opportunity had the NBA decided to cancel the season, because now they can play and have all this advertising and awareness during the games, during commercials, and engage more people to get involved. And I'm happy that they are talking about voting advocacy, police justice reform, civil engagement. And it's going to take some time, but the journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step. And this was a huge step for, to make lives better and fair for Black people nationwide, starting with the U.S.
Michael, phenomenal victory for the athletes who were questioned by a lot of people?
Oh, most definitely. What I like is that they have the support of the ownership. You know, Michael Jordan is in on this as well. Don't forget. You know, he is an owner, and I think because of him, we're going to have owners stepping up and pushing this stuff forward.
Because
The
he's got
the owners have the ears of the politicians. They have the clout to make them listen.
and Jordan has been credited with being the go-between between the players and the owners in terms of getting some kind of movement and some traction going.
That's right.
Well, I was, Michael, I know Jude is probably on the other side. I was of the mind that they shouldn't have actually started the season because I didn't know how they were going to pull it off. What if one member on the team gets the virus? Does the whole team get quarantined? So I wasn't sure how that was going to work, but they spent $150 million to set up that bubble in Orlando. And so far, unless they're fudging the numbers, it seems to be working. What was your initial thought?
Mm-hmm.
But I was hoping that it would work. You know, but obviously you're going to be a bit skeptical.
Hello?
Go ahead, Jude.
Oh, sorry. My internet connection here is not very good. But I was always hopeful that the league was going to restart. And this bubble concept has proven to be the best concept of anything that the major sports have put out there. A leader when it comes to civil engagement and awareness. I mean, yeah, Colin Kaepernick called out the NFL years ago for his, taking a knee during the national anthem, and now the NFL is on board. Being a pioneer often means, being the first one through the jungle. You're walking through there, you're getting cut, you're getting bit, you fall down, but you continue moving forward. And then when you get there, other people can take your path. And that's what Kaepernick did, and that's what these NBA players are doing right now. They're going to be leading the way for change at every level, and using their political clout and their money and their influence to make better change for society.
So many things have zigzagged their way in this narrative, man. From Fred VanVleet standing up at the Raptors saying that he doesn't know if just wearing black T-shirts with saying Black Lives Matter really changes things, and that killing of Jacob Blake really impacted him personally, and that's when they really intensified talking behind the scenes. Doc Rivers breaking down in a press conference talking about why don't America love us? You know what I mean? LeBron saying that the Black Americans live in fear, men, women, and child, and so many of these kind of things have been happening. Which one of the things that have happened so far that you said, wow, this is really happening?
The ownership coming on board the way they did, that was surprising. I'm happy that took place, because now there is some real clout behind this thing. People with money, people with influence, to get things done. I'm glad that came about.
And predictably, the U.S. Republican Party, who are having their convention during all this stuff, they come out and say negative, stupid things. So they're a party of fear. But like Doc Ryan, like Charles Barkley said, we're the ones, black people are the ones who should be fearful. They ain't shooting white people. These cops aren't out there shooting white kids. Notice by that, I mean, the thing that made the Jacob Blake situation so much more galling or appalling was the fact that that white teenager, forget what his name was, who came from Illinois. Came from Illinois to, I guess, to use his words, to work or support these businesses that he has no connection to. And he's, applauded by the police, tacitly gave him some water. They saw him with the rifle. They'd heard that there were some shootings. Before and after, and the police are like, okay, see you later, have a good day, Meanwhile, they shoot this Blake 7 times in the back.
And the chief of police give him props for being there to help the law enforcement, to help keep the law, you know?
We appreciate you, one of the cops said to him and his gang.
Yeah, and that's part of the problem too. That's a major part of the problem, these police chiefs and these police unions who, regardless of how bad their officers act, will always try to sugarcoat their faults and find, you know, positive ways to put spins on.
Well, because Trump, when they asked him, what do you think of the NBA boycott, strike, whatever? He says, I don't know much about that, but what I do know is that their numbers are dropping because the product has gone down, so their numbers are dropping. But Trump is right, though. The numbers have dropped 20% in America.
Well, the
you're talking the ratings?
The ratings, yes.
Well, you know what? That's fine. The rating has dropped, but their influence and their power has gone up, you know,
but is it just because of Black Lives Matter T-shirts and so on, or is it also that
it's not just because of the T-shirts? It's because the people have realized that, you know, Black people have been suffering for a long time. The white population realized that Black lives do matter. Look who's supporting us in all these protests, right? Look who got the people who died by the hands of this young man were 2 white people died, you know, protesting this atrocity that's been taking place on Black people, and their lives have been lost because of it. What does that say about society in the States right now?
Yeah, I mean, you're right, Michael. The biggest thing for me with this Black Lives Matter is the color of the movement. It's no longer just predominantly Black. It's Black, it's white, it's brown, it's you know, Chinese and Asian. It's anyone who's been oppressed anywhere in the world is coming and seeing, you know, using this Black Lives Matter as a catalyst to foster change, social change everywhere. And, you know, I want to address what you said about the ratings, the NBA rating. I don't care about the ratings being down. I'm watching it. And, you know, the fact that the ratings may be down temporarily. I'm sure all sports, their numbers are down because of COVID. People find other things to do.
Jude, especially around what I forgot to say earlier, just the time period that they saw, these games are on in the afternoon. People at work a lot of times, and those people work.
And it's the summertime. The NBA, the NBA is normally finished by June.
Yeah.
I mean, most people are not used to watching professional basketball in the summertime unless it's the Olympics. But I'm sure, as Michael would agree, and you would agree, Clifton, that the exposure of the NBA and their message is gone up 20-fold, as opposed to, you know, their numbers being down for the Nielsen's rating 20%, which is a big deal. They're still out there, still in the billions. So,
well, they influence internationally now on the publicity they've gotten with this year and the way they will embolden other such attempts, not just in sports, but across the whole panoply of American politics. Because for so long, man, as Doc Rivers said, what do Black Americans got to do to be treated as human beings? And why, when so blatantly we keep on seeing succession, time after time, you'd think that guy who shot Blake would have thought, well, hold on, there was a whole lot of shit going on with this George Floyd thing. Why don't I just back the fuck off?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and they had 2 officers there. Why can't they just tackle them and put them, you know, take them out of the car? Why do they got to resort to firing a guy and shooting him in the back? It's like, aren't they trained to, subdue these, suspects? If this guy could be called a suspect, he wasn't. He just a Black guy walking away from breaking up a fight with 2 Black women. And somehow they deem him a serious threat.
2 white women.
2 white women? Yeah.
2 white women.
So, yeah, so they figured he was the cause of the argument, and so they shoot him.
Well, policing in the States, the requirement to become a cop in the States is very low. You don't even need to have your high school diploma to become a cop.
Mm-hmm.
here in Canada, you have to have your college degree to get into the police force. You know, I've heard people talking about policing in the States, people who are being cops, Americans called into on the radio show. One gentleman called and said he was a cop for 28 years. And back in the day, he said the white officers, a lot of them couldn't pass the test. They had their friends writing the test to become a police for them.
Yeah.
You know? And this is the quality that they have been putting out there and because of that, I mean, they don't have the intellect to engage the public properly. They don't have the right training, and they don't have the smarts. That's what we're dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
And also, the police force was a natural home to a lot of the right-wing element, like the Ku Klux Klan.
Absolutely.
Who, when they went under, they got jobs in the police force where they could legally harass and kill and intimidate black people. So that element is still there, I believe.
Same thing happened here. There was an outfit here, called the Western Guard Party. They did the same thing. They were the Ku Klux Klan Nazis here then, back in the earlies. But you know, Jude, Michael, this issue of police brutality has really been taken up by the NBA for years.
Mm-hmm.
The WNBA, especially, players have been out there. LeBron has been out there a number of times saying stuff. So this, to me, is a culmination of all of that, where it seemed to have moved black athletes in America back to the days when Ali, Frazier, Jim Brown, and Jim Brown and all of them would get together and be like a powerhouse back then. You think we're going back to that way now? There's no going back. Black athletes got to be political.
Well, one thing, they're making more money now, these athletes. One thing, I think they have social media now, so they can get allies and they can amplify their message fairly simply. What you know, Jim Brown and Ali and all these famous athletes of the past did, even, you know, those Olympic runners, John Carlos. What they did was, you know, start the movement. But now with social media, and anytime there's a police beating or shooting anywhere in America, particularly, somebody's filming it. Someone's putting it online. People are commenting on it and sharing it, and people are getting outraged. You know, black people have known about it forever. You know, white people now are starting to get concerned and starting to say this has got to change. I mean, look at the country, the state it's in right now. And yeah, I think he blamed most of that on Trump. He's emboldened a lot of these right wingers. He's made the police unaccountable. He has made things, you know, difficult for blacks and minorities in the United States.
Here we are, 60 years since Ali was fighting for the same cause. Here we are 60 years later, and not much has changed. Right? We're still fighting for the same things. However, the good thing this time around is that we have the support of our white brothers now, which wasn't happening to that degree back in the day.
You're right. You're right.
You know,
I mean, you look at the March on Washington. Yeah. Sorry, Michael.
Yeah, that's coming now too. That's supposed to be happening currently, isn't it? That month.
The anniversary.
Tomorrow? Yeah. But you look at that original March on Washington, the one with Martin Luther King, there were very few black people in that march. I mean, they were there. But now you look, as Michael alluded to earlier, the Black Lives Matter protests in the States and various cities, it's predominantly white, which is awesome.
Yeah, because there are a lot of other dissatisfactions out there too, right? I mean, student debt forgiveness, people want the new Green Deal, because a lot of them demonstrations been actually going to politicians' houses, man, saying we need some change. And because Trump has made such a mockery of the game, and a lot of young people are out of work, large student debts, ain't got no money, didn't get no stimulus. Police are on their ass.
Yeah. Everything Trump touches turns to crap. You know, he's and I think the NBA players with this voting advocacy, the message is clear. they need a change of leadership at the presidency and at the executive and judicial branches, meaning the Senate and the House. And they need changes. You know, they need all these Republican governors and senators and representatives. They need all of them to go because they're part of the problem. In fact, they are a huge stumbling block for any progressive and positive change in America. But the first thing that has to happen is Trump has got to be defeated in November. And then they can get a Democrat get in there and then start to, you know, restore some calm and decency to America and the world. Because Trump and his ilk are the worst examples of all the worst elements of human nature, all rolled up into the most powerful office in the world, which is frightening.
So is that what it's going to take for Trump to be out? What about defund the police and some of those local efforts like the Bucks did in terms of talking to the Attorney General and trying to get police reform and control of the police, and maybe some of these killings they have with mentally challenged folks that they're not equipped to deal with. Certain people they're not equipped to deal with, and those things could be done by civilians. So when people say defund the police, it's not just take a whole bunch of cash away just so, but you have a place where you want to take the cash to, and you have reforms in the system so that we ain't paying all them police to just drive around in fancy SUVs.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just about defunding the police. I think they've kind of walked that back. It's not about we want to defund the police. We want to reorganize the police. You know, we want to have specialized police, so to speak, people who are capable to negotiate, you know, with terrorists, to negotiate with people with mental health. The police aren't equipped to negotiate with someone who has a mental health illness. And a lot of these people, as you know, who are out there causing trouble, a lot of mental health is involved in these things. You know, and instead of shooting the guy, you can talk him down, you can negotiate. So now we're gonna have parts of the police force that are mental health specialists, you know, and people of that nature to make society function better, because we won't be having all these shootings occurring, you know. And this thing with the gun, America and its gun laws, you know, the right to bear arms. This teenager walking around with a gun on him.
17 years, an AR-15.
He can
Open
carry, we call it. Just look how dangerous that is, you know. Just like the guy who shot the casino last year.
Mm.
You know, these people have the guns, they can just lay down and start shooting. Why? Why are you exposing yourself to that kind of danger? It's so ridiculous to have a man with a gun and live ammunition walking the streets and it be legal.
Americans have always defended their Second Amendment, which is the right to bear arms, but they've been misinterpreting that amendment for years. The right to bear arms, in my opinion, it does not mean the right for individuals to hold guns and weapons. It's the right for the state to have a militia or military. That's what that means. But
yes,
the NRA over the years has corrupted that message to mean that people can individually hold guns and powerful weapons to defend themselves, and that's not what the amendment was intended to do. But
no.
You know, again, the Republicans are you know, in bed with the NRA, who are in bed with Fox News. So the three of them, I call them the three horsemen of the apocalypse, are what's led to the spiraling down of America and the endangerment of its citizens.
Gentlemen, the number of players, LeBron and Chris Paul included, actually contacted ex-President Barack Obama to have him counsel them. And he said to them, be cool, check your objectives, and go back in the game. Should they have gone back in the game?
You mean going back in the game, go back and play?
Play, yeah, go back to play.
But in fact, they have done that. They have gone back to play, right? They have gone back to play, and now they have this amazing platform. All the news that's come around this right now. That platform, all the sports are backing them up. You know,
Jude.
Oh, Michael's right. And Clifton, yeah, I started off this chat saying absolutely they should have gone back. And I'm happy they are, because as Michael alluded to, they have a, the lens now has been amplified tremendously to help people, to help bring more people into their coalition to affect positive change. So absolutely, for them to go back. And we're going to be seeing some commercials. People are going to be talking about it. We'll be seeing some public education around voting advocacy and, why it's wrong to, suppress the vote in what is supposed to be the greatest democracy on earth. So it's, great. I'm happy they're going back and playing. And of course, RAF, the defending champions. Let's give them credit. Fred Van Fleet, I think, started this whole conversation.
Yes.
On Tuesday with mulling about the possibilities of a boycott. And then, as you mentioned, Clifton, Milwaukee, ran with it first because the Jacob Blake killing was in their state, and they felt compelled to do something first, which they did.
NBA went away, NBA came back. The Raptors are playing on Sunday versus the Celtics 1-1-30. Thank you so much, Jude Kelly, Michael Solomon. I'm Clifton Joseph. See you next time on the Wrap Up.
Thanks, fellas.
Take care.
See you someday.